Lion King 1.5 is a cinematic masterpiece. Why is that claim so hard to accept? Sure, Lion King is amazing, and few would argue otherwise, but what makes Lion King 1.5 deserving of the same or greater praise? Well, put simply, sequels aren't usually deserving of that kind of praise. We've seen enough bad ones to know that they aren't generally masterpieces in any sense of the word. So, here's 2 questions. Why are sequels so bad, and why is Lion King 1.5 so good? So, let's rewind a little. The Lion King is a fantastic movie for a whole host of reasons, which you can definitely go watch in another video if you'd like. But the point is this. The Lion King grossed $968 million, which, to be clear, is a stupendous amount of money. And Disney might tell you a lot of things about what they strive to do in the world, but the driving force behind all businesses is at some level or another money. And The Lion King had struck gold, and not for the first time in movie history either. There have been hosts of extremely successful films that have moved the bar for how much a film could make just a little bit higher. And movies are brands. They're not just about the movie themselves, they're about the characters, setting, music, and so on. Meaning that for over 50 years, Disney has realized that they can sell merchandise of all sorts. Action figures, dolls, toys, the soundtrack of the movie, posters, t-shirts, and so on. And it worked. Oftentimes, movies make more in merchandise sales than they do in their entire time at the box office. So, why do studios make sequels? Easy. Because they've already built a brand from a widely successful first movie and can now, for a much lower budget, make a film to bring in an artificially high amount of money for the film's quality. And a high return on investment means profit. So, bingo. And unfortunately, this happens quite a bit. Let's go back to our first question. Why are sequels so bad? Well, they're often a quick cash grab, so they don't really care too much about quality or novelty. They have little room to be original and interesting, as they have to play off the emotions and characters of the first film in order to even be a sequel. Plus, we expect, at least subconsciously, to get something similar to the first film. And they're often a quick cash grab, so the time allotted to creating the film is usually too short to make anything of note. And the studio isn't going to hire anyone particularly seasoned in the industry because they're too expensive. So, that answers our first question pretty well. You are in fact correct in assuming that sequels are usually bad. Now we'll answer the second question. Why is Lion King 1.5 so good? Well, movies are very subjective and you may well disagree, but here are the reasons I think it deserves the title of cinematic masterpiece. It perfectly gets around the struggles of a sequel. It's memorable and it's entertaining. It's a joy to watch. So, first, a bit of a disclaimer. I believe there are 2 ways of judging the value of a movie. They're either artistically valuable, beautiful in some way or another, or they express an emotion or tell a story in a compelling or interesting way. Or they have entertainment value. They're enjoyable to watch. They're an escape. And that doesn't just mean comedy either. Action or horror can be entertaining because of the high intensity. And my term cinematic masterpiece can apply to a movie that has either high artistic value or high entertainment value. So, wait, Lion King 1.5 never even made it into theaters, right? It was a straight-to-DVD film. Unfortunately, that's correct, which is a shame, honestly, but cinematic really just means related to movies or motion pictures, and at this point, it doesn't only apply to theaters. Alright, let's get this out of the way. Lion King 1.5 is definitely not winning awards for artistic value. This movie is entertainment. And does that somehow make it worth less? No, absolutely not. At least, I don't believe so. And the thing is, the entertainment value of this movie is really amazing. The movie is an absolute joy to watch. I love it. But the important thing to take away is this. Entertainment is valuable, just like artistic expression or beauty. So, back to Lion King 1.5. Why is it entertaining, and why did it succeed where so many others had failed? Well, the basic requirements of a good sequel, at least for me, are the following. They need to share some elements with the original film, whether that be characters, music, plot, or something else, and they need to stay unique enough to not feel like a crappy reproduction of the first film. They need to bring something fresh to the table, and they have to have high entertainment or artistic value. Lion King 1.5 starts on the perfect note. F. Just kidding, I don't have perfect pitch, and my 15-second Google search yielded no results. So, unless I got lucky, that's probably wrong. Anyway, Lion King 1.5 starts the exact same way as the original Lion King did, and that ties it into the memories of the original movie, which is perfect. Then, Timon starts admittedly terribly, singing to the opening track with his incredibly relatable attempt at deciphering the lyrics of the beginning of The Circle of Life. This immediately is not only incredibly funny, but gives the viewer a sign that this isn't The Lion King. This is something new, a fresh take, and if you had expectations going in, you'd best get rid of them now. And that promise is kept throughout the entire movie. Anytime that an iconic or almost cliche scene from the original film comes around, it's turned on its head. A sequel that is literally a non-stop satire of the original film, and incredibly written as well. Every joke is timed and written and executed perfectly. So, how does Lion King 1.5 do this? First of all, the film is based off the view of Timon and Pumbaa during the off-screen portions of the plot of the original film. This means that Lion King 1.5 can keep the fundamental elements of the first film while bringing a fresh new take to everything, and on top of that, making you want to go back to watch the original. Timon and Pumbaa, designed to be the main comedic characters of the original film, are now the focus of the sequel, and they pulled this off perfectly. It's well written, and the wonderfully talented voice actors for Timon and Pumbaa kept the original charm and great jokes flowing smoothly. And I could definitely analyze every joke and plot element in this sequel, but I think you get the idea. They managed to overcome the problems of a stale sequel by taking a different approach and perspective. Combining that with wonderful writing, and the movie is an absolute joy to watch. And while purely comedic and well-written shows can be great, Lion King 1.5 actually manages to have an interesting story and good character development, and manages to add to the original film through those elements. And that's incredibly impressive, because mixing comedy and story you actually care about is pretty tough, and this balance has to be perfect. Lion King 1.5 actually has that perfect position here because of the approach of taking in the same story as the original film through the eyes of different characters. Timon and Pumbaa aren't developed much in the first film, meaning there was a huge door left open for another movie that built and developed their characters more fully. And that is exactly what happened here. I genuinely think that the plot and character development are good enough that you should go watch the movie yourself instead of just watching me break down the story. So, the story is something you care about because it's about characters you know and love being more fully developed. And it's mixed so perfectly with the comedy because of the fact that Timon and Pumbaa are inherently comedic characters. It's part of their nature. And Lion King 1.5 is a cinematic masterpiece. Why? Because it perfectly mixes the elements of the original movie with enough novelty to keep things from becoming boring, and it literally smashes through the odds of the probability of a good sequel. And most importantly, it's a freaking blast. I love everything about it. It's an absolute joy to watch. And look, cinema isn't only about expression or art or beauty. Cinema has always been at least partially about entertainment. And I honestly think it's too bad that we take movies so seriously all the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's definitely a place for video essays about cinematic classics, but sometimes we just need to take things a little less seriously. And Lion King 1.5 is a perfect example of that philosophy. It's not only about the art, it's about the enjoyment of the film. So sometimes you just need to take a breather, go watch Lion King 1.5 with a bunch of friends, or Cars 2, and just enjoy yourself. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave it a like, and if you're feeling especially nice, go ahead and subscribe. And with that, I will see you guys later.